How are we doing, everybody? Hopefully you can hear us. Let us know in the comments quickly whether you can hear us or not, so we don't look like lemons and we keep talking to ourselves. But as you know, today there is some sound there coming out my laptop now. We really are firing on all cylinders, a bit like Everton this season. Let's get straight into the back pages. You know what this
Can
is.
they hear us?
Can they hear us? Even if they can, I bet they don't let us know. They should pretend. No, don't do that.
Sounds on, good.
Sound is on. There we go. Right. Let's go to the first back page of the day. Sorry about that. Thank you all for waiting around. Let's get straight into it now. Daily Mail, they're just going with mainly the Ashes, but we won't talk about that, and Flav's cricket top. We'll talk about the results. Huddersfield losing at home to Man City. You know, they did get that penalty just after the second half. Aguero dispatched it, and then Sterling bounced off his knee. It went in, but City showing some real grit and determination to come from behind there.
Yeah, you need some luck sometimes, don't you? And again, there's no chance that they're not winning the league now.
A lot of teams got lucky this weekend. Man United, we got lucky with our goal against Brighton. Chelsea, Willian definitely crossed it, went in the back of the net. Arsenal, 92nd minute penalty. Burnley fans, any Burnley fans watching, you must hate Arsenal. Last 3 games, Burnley-Arsenal.
Yeah.
92nd minute penalty, 98th minute penalty, and it cost you any handball.
Yeah.
They must be fuming. But
do you know what I said? Like, the game's like as long as until the whistle goes. So it's like, oh, they were lucky they scored in the last minute. They kept going to the last minute. I can't.
Look at you remaining positive.
No, I'm fine. I shouldn't, because Spurs had a horrendous result at home to Gary Megson's West Brom.
The hoodoo, still there, right?
He's gone.
Oh no, you thought it was gone. It's going to come back.
The hoodoo's gone. We're beating Real Madrid and Dortmund at home.
That doesn't really matter. It's the league, mate.
That's like a really tired old story that you've just brought back. So you want to concentrate on a hoodoo at Wembley and not Gary Megson being the equal of Mauricio Pochettino. That's the story.
Megson to replace Poch when he goes there.
Maybe.
Going to the next back page, it's the Guardian saying Guardiola hails City. Second half comeback fight ends 22-year wait, and I think that's to do with Man City not winning a game from a losing position at half time. Some bollocks like that.
But that again, all that's bollocks as well, because they're so rarely in a position where they go behind that it's quite a rare thing for them to have to do that.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
It's just not, again, nonsense newspaper talk.
Well, they're very good at that, aren't they? And we're very good at talking nonsense about the nonsense.
Let's
go back to the Independent, saying Pep praises Sterling work. Sterling, this season, he scored 12 goals, right? This is already his best return for a club, and it's November. It's a bit like Salah. So everyone's talking about Mohamed Salah. Not many people are talking about Sterling in the same I don't know.
But I think
amazing.
I think with Salah, he's kind of functioning in a team that's not as good as Man City. If Sterling can't do it in this Man City's team, then really has he got a career at the top end of the football?
I mean, he really is.
He's tearing it up.
He's looking like that Sterling that was Sterling Suarez Sturridge when they nearly won the league, unlucky Liverpool. But let's go to the back page of the Mirror again. Blast Action Heroes talking about late winners by Sterling at City and Sanchez at Arsenal, and Dyche has accused Ramsey of diving as Sanchez fires a 92nd minute Arsenal winner. Let us know in the comments now. Type yes or no. Do you think Alexis Sanchez dived? But Arsenal, for them, it's been a great week.
Ramsey dived.
Was it Ramsey who dived? Yeah, sorry, maybe. My bad. Anyway, Ramsey, did he dive? Yes or no? Let us know in the comments. But for Arsenal, a 2-0 win over Spurs and a 1-0 win away at Burnley, you've got to give it to them. Both of them are very good results. 6 points.
Certainly the Burnley result. Arsenal going up there have done incredible getting a result there. Not even just to not concede is difficult at Turf Moor, but to go out there, get a clean sheet and win, albeit in the last minute. You know, Arsenal had an incredible result there, and they're back into the top 4.
But the main story today, as you can see, it's all about Everton and David Unsworth after Everton sunk to a 4-1 defeat to Southampton. And you know, Everton really are down in the dumps at the moment. They've conceded 11 goals in the last 3 games. They're coming up against David Moyes' West Ham on Wednesday. I mean, any Everton fans watching this, let us know how big that game is. Is that really just the watershed moment if you do lose to David Moyes' West Ham? Or is that already gone?
Look, I know that a lot of stick comes at David Moyes, but this is a position where he is a manager. He does know his stuff. You know, compared to David Unsworth, who seems completely and utterly out of his depth. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. We did when it was first announced. You know, this guy could know his stuff, but at this level, and maybe the problems are so severe at Everton that someone as inexperienced managerially as David Unsworth had no chance of making it work in any case. But you look at them and the way they lined up against Southampton and the way they reacted to phases of play on the pitch, it looked like an amateur team. It was embarrassing.
I mean, you all know Ped on the channel, but this is what Ped had to say about that game against Southampton, and suffice to say, he looks pretty beaten right now.
Right now. For me, Everton will get relegated this season that if this isn't addressed urgently. And that means bringing in somebody who can deal with it. Let's cut all this bullshit and bollocks. Forget about all your Hollywood managers and all the rest of it. We need someone in appropriate now. It's beyond the joke.
I mean, for you can see it there, Ped. He really does look like a broken man, and you can't not see, look at the results they've had. 4-1 to Southampton. Prior to that, 5-1 at home to Atalanta. Yes, they were already out of the Europa League, but in front of a half-empty Goodison Park. It was a semi-strong team that Unsworth put out, got put away. Conceded 2 against Crystal Palace. They won against Watford prior to that. 3-0 away at Lyon when they got knocked out of the Europa League. 2-0 at home. No, sorry, 2-0 away to Leicester. Lost to Chelsea, lost to Arsenal 5-2. I mean, things really are going from bad to worse. But as Ped alluded to in that video there, he doesn't want to look at Hollywood managers, doesn't want to look at anybody. He just wants somebody now that he feels can help Everton avoid relegation. Because Ped, as he said there, he thinks if this continues too long, Everton are going to go past the point of no return and are going to get relegated. And is there any manager, Flav, that you think could potentially be that man?
Sam Allardyce could do a good job up there. Perfect for him. Perfect setup, but they've blown it already. They've already done. They fucked it because they obviously doubled down on Silva. There were rumours that Silva might have wanted to come to Goodison. He is the right manager for them. You know, he's incredible. You saw what Watford did to Newcastle at the weekend. You know, this guy isn't a joke. He's the real deal. But he's 11 games or 12 games into his contract at Watford. To leave now says something about Silva. Also, you know, because of they delayed, you know, I think they wanted Allardyce as their backup, and Allardyce is, I mean, he's a great manager, but he's also egotistical. He's kind of, his opinion of himself is inflating hugely. So they kind of said, well, look, you hesitated. He said this, is quoting the press, Everton hesitated too long and no longer interested because his feelings have been hurt and his ego's been damaged. So now they're in a situation where they've got David Unsworth. You know, Ped talks about, you know, they need to just get someone in there who can steady the shop and he's pragmatic and knows how to make a team work on a basic level. Because what you've got to remember is Everton, these are all pro footballers. They're not bad footballers. They're all very good footballers. You know, but sometimes when the fish stinks, it stinks from the head. So something's wrong at Everton there. And it's, you know, it can be sorted out by the right manager at the right time. And, you know, they've run out of time.
And speaking of a stinky fish, David Unsworth after the game, to hear your manager saying this, it's sort of indicative of how bad the situation is. Because after the game, he said, "It's killing me." When asked about Everton's current run of form, he said, "I take responsibility, but we all have to as well. We're in a tough place and things have to change quickly. Confidence is as low as it has ever been. Look, the club has to decide, and the sooner that happens, the better. The players need this resolving." It's effectively David Unsworth saying, "Look,
I can't do this.
Everton, I'm out of my depth here.
Yeah.
Save me, save the club." Because he's a fan as well at the same time, and he doesn't like what's going on.
You know, he's a legend at the club. You know, he played many years there, and was a good player despite being what I would consider a piggy footballer. But he, you know, he's an Everton legend, a huge, you know. It's a shame that it isn't working for him there. But the problems, there's either two problems. One, his tactics are horrendous and don't work at this level of football. More likely, the players have got no, you know, enthusiasm or belief in the regime, and they're not responding to what's being asked of them. Both of those things are massive issues for managers to sort out. And coming off the back of £150 million spent, first time Everton fans are really going into it and thinking, we're finally spending money and we can do something.
Yeah.
And this what happened. You know, you can understand why they're so upset.
Well, looking at the comments here, we've got Kaylee Vardy. She's going for Tony Pulis, who is obviously available.
Pulis would 100% keep them up.
Alan Pardew's been linked with it as well, but he's been heavily linked with the West Brom job. Looks like he's going to go there first and foremost.
Yeah.
Retro Unlim, obviously being a sarcastic bastard on Monday morning, going for Phil Neville. You know, I feel Phil Neville will probably be in the same vein as David Unsworth in terms of.
I mean, who knows? It's a gamble.
Maybe that would be a bit harsh. But I don't know. Everton really are caught between a rock and a hard place. They want their manager. They could probably get their manager in the summer in Marco Silva. But what do they do between now and then? They can't stick with David Unsworth. I think that's become abundantly clear.
And look, they can get Pulis and sack him at the end of the season. You know, he only did 6 months at Palace, but before leaving there. So,
I mean, there's a comment there from Superfly03 saying, "Will Ball Street be up north today?" It will be up north today, and hopefully we'll hear a little bit more from Ped on the situation at Everton. So make sure you check out the social clubs later on this afternoon. Do apologise about the sound earlier on. We'll let you off.
Fergus O'Connor, just quickly, friend.
Yeah.
We didn't mention Sean Dyche. That would have been incredible. And when spoken about it, he was coy. He didn't dismiss the link. And he didn't.
I mean, he's built a wonderful team at Burnley. He's been there for what, 5-6 years. He's brought them back up to the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Out of him and Marco Silva, I would say Dyche would surely be less likely to leave Burnley than Silva would to be.
I would have thought so as well, but when you saw the interview with him from the reporters, he didn't say, "I'm staying at Burnley." He was just like, well, you know, things happen in football. So, you know, that would probably be the best shot. He deserves a shot, but is Sean Dyche a long-term solution for Everton? Can he get them into where they want to be, the top 4?
Well, he's got Burnley on the edge of it.
I mean, has he?
He has.
No, he's a quarter of a season of good form. That's not on the edge.
It's not just a quarter of the season.
But that isn't. But that's not the edge.
Burnley last year were fantastic as well.
But that's not the edge of qualifying for the Champions League. He's not on the edge of qualifying for the Champions League. He's had good 11-12 games.
No, I think you're being really unfair on Sean Dyche. I think he's a
let's have a bet right now. We're going
No,
you're making a statement.
Yeah, but you're trying
Burnley,
to make money
on the end of the season.
It's nearly payday yet. He's trying to dig my overdraft.
You know what I'm talking about.
What's the bet then? What's the bet?
I'll bet you £100.
A strong.
£100 that come the end of the season, Burnley won't be on the edge of qualifying for the Champions League.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think they will be.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Look, right, Dyche is a good manager. I think that is abundantly clear.
He's not going to get them into the Champions League, Everton, though, is he?
What, do you think that he's going to come in there and steady the ship and leave it for someone else to take it up that level?
No, he'll stay there for as long until he gets sacked, and Everton will be around 7 or 6, exactly where they were before.
So a bit Moisey then, you think? That's what he would be, another David Moyes.
I think in the long run, yeah.
Right, well, that's our opinion on Everton. You don't really care about it, though. You want to hear what Ped has to say, so make sure you check Social Club later on.
Yeah.